Hello and welcome back to the WGL APAC. We're in week number 8 and it's now our final game of today. Horsemen up against Coalition Zoo. We've already seen two very close matches going out to the 5-4. I think maybe this one could even go that far.
It could go the distance, Jordan. If we're lucky enough, it very well could. But I think overall, Team Coalition Zoo, look, they have been on fire coming in towards this one, of course. They went 5-4, did lose, unfortunately, but in their game yesterday and coming into this one against, the guys from Horsemen, who aren't looking too crash hot at the moment, I think they could take it out.
Well, I don't know if I would say 5 losses in a row is necessarily on fire.
Wow.
For Coalition Zoo.
I mean, relatively speaking.
They played pretty well yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But in general, I definitely think they're going to be... They've been on a bit of a downward turn, right? They started off the series, or the season, very, very well. They were looking like a top 4 team. And then, they've gone downhill since then. And now currently sitting down towards the bottom of our remaining 8 teams. And up against Horsemen here today. Yeah, you're right. Horsemen haven't had the best of form into this one either. But I still feel like they probably have the advantage coming into this one.
Yeah, you reckon?
I think so.
I honestly, I'm going to say this one, it will be Horsemen losing it out to the Coalition Zoo. Let's say 5-3, I reckon.
It's pretty close. I think it's pretty close. But the Horsemen, of course, currentently sitting in number 6 on the ladder at the moment, or at least coming into this week they were. They're currently still doing so. So let's have a look and see. Their lineup, I mean, it has its moments, but it also has moments where they just look really bad.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. But look, they do still have some pretty solid players who do normally show up pretty well. Nundesu, of course. We've got Colin as well as Faluso, the Horsemen's captain. Generally make some pretty big plays for the team.
I like Faluso.
Faluso.
He's very consistent for the Horsemen. But apart from that, I mean, there's no one really that we generally speaking see always doing the damage, always being in the positions that they need to be. So there are some issues there for the Horsemen. I mean, they've only won 2 out of their last 5 games, so that in itself speaks, to the form that they're in. And yeah, you're right. Look, I mean, Coalition Zoo, they definitely can pick up a victory here. I think I'm still leaning towards Horsemen. But it is going to be close as well. I'm going 5-3 to the Horsemen. I guess we'll have to see what maps come out today as well. I think it's going to play a bit of a part in that as well. Yeah, look, I just feel like Horsemen have a bit of a better map pool overall. So that would be part of the reason I'm leaning in that direction. But
I just think it's about time for the Coalition to, kind of pick up their game, I suppose, a little bit and really show us that they can, they can still compete to the level that we have once seen them at. I want them to get back to basics. I want them to get back to the E100s, all of that fun stuff.
Well, you say that, but here for the Coalition Zoo, are they necessarily going to have to go back to those E100s, or do you feel like it's maybe time to start adapting?
I just want to see them. They've won with the E100s, and maybe they should make some new strategies with the E100s, but they can still use them. They're so comfortable on those tanks. But anyways, right now we do see them. We have got some members, of course, to look out for. Madhouse, the 16-year-old World of Tanks prodigy on the Coalition side, as well as Crazy Bees, always one to look out for, and Pixel. But overall, they are sitting in 8th position at the moment and really not looking too crash hot. This is going to be their chance. This is where they can pick up a clean win. So for their sake, I hope they do.
Yeah, definitely. I think coming into this one, Horsemen is one of the remaining teams. Of the remaining teams, they're definitely one of the weaker ones. So, it doesn't really get much better than this, I guess, short of facing Dark Horse. Although, admittedly, Dark Horse look pretty good up against Karen Tiger. So, maybe coming into this one, this is the chance that Coalition Zoo need. But, again, it's going to be tough. And, well, it's important for them as well because they definitely need this win to be able to push them out of that 7th or 8th position that they found themselves in. Get it over Horsemen so that they can get into the qualifications for the finals.
Yeah, there we go. Well, let's take a look at what tanks these teams will be bringing in here to Ruinberg. And it is looking like no E100s are on the cards there for the Coalition. Instead, going stock standard 113s, AMX 50Bs, TVPs, and a T54 lightweight. On the other side, the Horsemen are going to be going 2 IS7s and some fairly standard tanks, AMX 50B, 3 Bat Chats, and a T54 as well. Interesting that the Horsemen are going to be going with those IS7s instead of the 113s. I mean, obviously the IS7 There's that nice armor as well, slightly better frontal armor than the 113, and of course that nice high alpha damage on the gun. But overall, it's a bit of a kind of pick and choose. I like the Coalition's lineup better for brawling there, and as we can see, Ruinberg, generally a very brawl-centric map, particularly once you get up close and personal in towards that town on the 2 flag. So let's see how it works out for them.
I'll see indeed. Horsemen, yeah, they're not so great on Ruinberg. Well, in saying that, neither is Coalition Zoo. So we'll have to see how this one turns out. But
oh, look at this. Early push on the Horsemen on towards that 1 flag, and they're sending Spencer out to the 2 flag to scout Falou, so maybe there's a little bit of a distraction out there as well.
Joke's definitely looking in that direction, has no idea that there's a bunch of Horsemen players going up to the northern part of the map, and he would have been one of those players that needed to get shots on the cross here, and only one's going to go into Nundesu here. Archon hasn't taken a shot just yet. There's a couple of tanks on the 1 flag already here for the Horsemen, and well, they've really put their stamp early on this battle, and this is sort of what we like to see from the Horsemen. That quick aggressive play
is what worked for them.
It's back apparently, at least for this one. And we'll see how it works out. Joke is under a lot of pressure. He's in a very poor position. The IS-7's not even having to get involved in that battle. He goes down. Spencer in the Tier 8 light tank for Horsemen. Well, the Tier 8 T-54 hasn't really been able to have much of an impact on this one. But, I mean, I think Horsemen are going to be pretty happy with how this has turned out so far. Coalition Zoo really struggling for the HP at the moment. Jay Will, he's under so much pressure. Archon and Nundesu shouldn't really have too many difficulties in cleaning this one up. And it looks like it's just going to be Archon to push his way forward.
It's looking like that at the moment, as we have only 8 seconds left on the base capture. So
no one's going to be able to reset this.
They need to though.
Yeah, but are they going to be able to? Nope. Yep. Just.
Oh my goodness, that was
about as close as you can get there. Actually,
literally milliseconds away.
Archon did get a kill there as well. So I mean, even though that reset comes out, Horsemen definitely still in the driver's seat here, and he's going to find another one there onto Jay Will. Lichipi trying to push forward in his TVP. Yeah, he might be able to pick up Nundesu here, but at the end of the day, what does it really matter for Horsemen? They've got the 4v4 still, but all the pressure is on the shoulders of the Coalition Zoo, and this time I don't think we're going to be seeing a reset coming out, although there's a guy behind.
Yeah,
Pac-Manius. I didn't even see that.
I just saw him sneaking up. I was like, oh no, surely he's not going to have enough time, but he does. And just like that, the base cap is going to be reset. And again, the Coalition Zoo, they've only got 2 tier 10s left, one on 100 HP. The T-54 Pixel is looking healthy, but he's only a T-54. He can't do too much, and he's certainly not going to be able to go up against these 2 IS-7s.
No, definitely not. He's going to have a bit of trouble penetrating them pretty much everywhere, except from the back. Maybe the side. The bat chat here as well of Hawks still available on the field. So really, you got to say the Coalition Zoo are going to be bowing out of this one relatively shortly. And again, the timer starts to tick down and tick down. But it feels like it's been a foregone conclusion for probably the last 2 minutes of this game. Coalition Zoo have just been delaying the inevitable, hanging on by the skin of their teeth by getting those resets right at the last minute. And well, overall, it just hasn't worked out too well for them here on the defensive side of Ruinberg.
Unfortunately not, and Pixel, he's going to pay the price there for peaking. Does get 1 reset, but Pac-Manius in the TVP is not going to be able to get, well, he does get 1, but he gets taken out right after that. So Horsemen should be able to close this one out in 18 seconds or so, and Pixel's also going to run into Hawks, who might even try and get a few shots across on top of that. But overall, look, that's the sort of Horseman that I like seeing.
Yeah, me too.
The aggressive, fast pushing, rushing Horseman, get right onto the cap, and it's just that aggressive play that wins the matches. So,
well, it certainly wins the matches against Coalition Zoo, and I think they're a lot more comfortable doing that aggressive play when they know they're, on paper, probably the better team. I mean, you don't see them really doing that against EL Gaming or against Meltdown or anything like that. They tend to play a little bit more slower.
Yeah, which is a bit of a shame, because I still think it can work against those teams.
But when they feel like they're on top, when they feel like they're the stronger side, they're definitely very keen to do that. And it goes to show just how well it's worked out for them against Coalition Zoo there.
And it's all because they didn't have E100s.
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
No,
but
I don't think E100s would have helped them there, to be fair.
No,
probably would have hindered them, actually.
Maybe.
They'd have got them up into that township. It would have taken even longer for them to get back over to the rotate.
Well, they could have left 1, but yeah,
maybe.
Who knows? Exactly. Anyways, either way, good start there by the Horsemen on Ruinberg. And I think if they can continue that on the defensive side, maybe even go for a defensive rush, it'll work as well.
Well, before we get there, we're going to have to go ahead and have a look at the replay of that first round. It certainly was a nice start from the Horsemen. Got right into that cap. They got the damage across. Joke was caught out in essentially no man's land. And yeah, Spencer went down, but tier 8 for tier 10, you're always going to take that trade.
Exactly. And I mean, they did get some pretty amazing resets there, but at the end of the day, just wasn't worth it. An Archon there, and Jay Will missing that shot against him. And look, he held out for long enough. And again, this is a scenario where I don't think those two TVPs work. You know, like don't pick 2 TVPs. I think 1 absolutely fine, but 2 really it just makes you too squishy. You know, this isn't Cliff, this is Ruinberg. You need to be able to duke it out with those IS7s and the like. So.
Well, some takeaways there, I think, for Coalition Zoo. I don't know. Yeah, look, Horsemen, they just looked very much better there, and there's not that much that you can really say for Coalition Zoo. They just need to, focus on the next match. I think, really, to be fair, just ignore that one, put it out of their mind. But before we put it out of their mind, and before we put it out of our minds, have a look at the damage charts. And Pacmanius, he survived for quite a long time there for Coalition Zoo, so to see him up there, that's probably pretty standard. But I mean, across the board, look at that, 6 Horsemen out of 7, towards the top.
Crazy.
You're never going to win. You would never win in a situation like that when you're
never.
You're just not getting the damage across.
Never. So Horsemen up the top there. Even those IS7s still pretty decent damage numbers, 1500 apiece. Bat chats all the way up the top for Luso and the AMX 50B in the middle there. And well, the only one on the Horsemen that didn't deal too much damage was that T54 lightweight Spencer. Of course, in a situation like that, he only got 2 shots off, and honestly, it's even good to penetrate 1. To be quite frank, so can't be complaining about that. But Chippy in his TVP going to be wanting to deal more than 475 damage after 8 shots. Unfortunately, the Chippy, so really not a brilliant showing there either. But again, very hard for those TVPs. Even using gold rounds, they struggle to go through IS7s. You know, they will struggle. So when you pick 2 of them, it's 2 tanks that, let's just throw a number out there, are not penetrating 50% of their shots. So it becomes very, very hard to actually inflict damage. Yeah,
well, I think going off memory, Horsemen just 5-0'd efficiency relatively recently as well. So, I mean, if they're feeling it at the moment, and they come up here against Coalition Zoo, there's potential for something crazy like that.
Yeah.
I know we said it was going to be pretty close, but Horsemen is one of those teams where they can just come out of the gates and absolutely demolish.
Exactly. No, you're right. And if the Horsemen do keep on, doing that aggressive plays, then I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that. So, and speaking of aggression, that's the lineup which screams aggression to me.
Especially on the defensive side, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't pick 4 bat chats on the defense in Ruinberg unless you're going to do something with them.
And AMX 50Bs instead of like an FP215B or a 113 or something. Those are tanks you want to get in there and fight with.
Yep.
Essentially. So Coalition 2, they, to me, have got the more defensive sort of a lineup.
Yeah.
And they're moving over to the attacking side. So, shall see.
And, well, exactly. In Coalition 2, they've got Joke in that T110E3, which, again, not a massive fan of that one. The Tier 10 American Tank Destroyer, which is very much a tank.
I feel like Coalition Zoo is trying to counter-strat Horsemen a little bit here by playing such a defensive lineup and playing not just the lineup that they've got, but the way that they're playing at the moment as well. They're playing so safe, so default, sitting back and hoping that the Horsemen is going to push into them, which in this case we can see is not going to happen. But at least the Coalitions are aware of that being a possibility, playing around it.
And we do see Coalition Zoo pushing right up towards that 1 flag at the moment, so they're kind of taking a page out of Horseman's book.
But Gorilla's in a very nice spot here. If he doesn't take too much damage to actually deal a lot across, so he needs to be focused down here by the Coalition Zoo, and Pacmanius is going to go down straight away. The T54 already gone here for Coalition Zoo, or one of, and Gorilla's really not under that much pressure. He's got Lachippy chasing him down, but he will be able to get his full clip off, and he'll probably go down, but I think he will have done his job in that position here. And overall, it's a pretty even trade. I mean, 1 tanky down and 2 half HP tanks.
Yeah, not too bad there.
Archon's probably going to go
Coalition
down here, I would say, though. He's under a lot of pressure.
Yeah. And in fact, Coalition, yeah, well, exactly, about roughly the same, although they did take the Banchet down to a little bit under half HP, so I suppose technically speaking a slight advantage there, but definitely not a big one, as we do see Archon getting quite low. Hawks is rotating in towards the city. Spencer's coming into the city as well.
That's not going to work out too well for him. Probably should have lined up his shot and made sure he hit that one onto Archon, because he knew he was going to take damage when he did that. And that time he just peeks out, takes all the damage, but actually doesn't get anything in return.
That's not good.
The trade not worthwhile at all. There's still 25 seconds left on this cap here for Horsemen to get the reset. But, you know, it is ticking down, and Lechippy's giving Spencer a bit of a problem trying to hold things off there. And Spencer, he needed to hit that shot to make life a little bit easier, but eventually does take Lechippy down and should have another shot available for him to get the reset across here, but he's not even actually going to be able to poke in there. And the T123 covering off that angle. I don't think we're going to see a reset coming out here. 2 seconds left on the clock, 1 second now, and is that going to be it? Oh, again, a last second reset coming out. I think it might have been Nundesu. And Amex 50B coming around from the back. Fuluso is going to be able to pick up one there, and I think that's probably going to be enough for the Horsemen to close this one out. It was so close. Again, it's probably the 3rd or 4th time we've seen it get down to less than 1 second for Ruinberg so far, but the Horsemen definitely have the advantage now, 5 versus 4. Admittedly, the HP's not looking so great for them, but Nundesu, if he can just ram Raymond here and pick up that last little bit of damage.
There we go.
Which he does.
Good work there by Nundesu. And I love how just like lightly knocking into a tank, going at like 20 k's an hour, he just blows up. World of Tanks physics, eh? But right now, with 108 seconds left on the cap, things are looking very much downhill for the Coalition Zoo, with only J-Will and Crazy B left alive. Horsemen there only have 5 tanks left, and I think that is going to be just enough to deal with the one J-Will that is alive, so they do take it out in the end.
Not a bad start from the Horsemen, 2-0 there on Ruinberg.
Yeah, very good start.
It's not really a map which they're hugely favoured on.
Well, I mean, it came so close right there as well, with, you know, down to the wire, 0 seconds once again. And look, I just think I really didn't like some of the picks there from Coalition, so I didn't like that T110E3 particularly. I will be interested to see once we finally get around to the you know, post-battle stats how much damage it dealt, but I really don't think it dealt much.
Oh, well, let's have a look at the replays first before we get to the battle stats. And, overall, I mean, this was not...
Gorilla,
it wasn't an excellent push from the Coalition Zoo. I think they needed to really deal with Gorilla first, because he got his entire clip off. And really put the pain into the Coalition Zoo there. So it wasn't a bad setup with the IS-7 and the T110E3 on the cap here, but to get that reset, Horsemen, you know, that's what they needed.
That's all they needed. And at the moment with, well, once the Horsemen were rotated behind the Coalition, it was just curtains from that point onwards, and well, like we saw J-Will going down marked the end of it. But really, look, the Horsemen, they did react quite quickly. That helped them out quite a bit. They sent their tanks very early on to get a flank on towards the Coalition Zoo, and like you said, Gorilla lasted so long that he was able to get a solid amount of damage off.
Well, speaking of damage, we'll have to find out how much damage he did do in the post-battle stats. Let's have a look.
And well, not
too much, but he would have got 1 full clip off.
Yeah,
so he'd be about 1,200, I think.
So a decent
unless he
amount.
missed a shot or so.
A decent amount there up the top 7, and we do see joking that T110E3 1576 again. Still would have liked to see just a little bit more than that, and it's situations like that when really he could have done the exact same thing with an E100, but had 900 more hit points to play with.
Yeah,
you know, the exact same thing. I think, but anyways, not to be, as we do see J-Will there with the IS-7, 1,500 damage, and Gorilla was actually down the bottom there, 909, but still, you know, bit of a pain.
Yeah, exactly.
For the Coalition Zoo, and force them to deal with him. So he was in a very nice position there for that 1 flag push to deal with it.
Yeah, he definitely was, and overall the Horsemen were in a good position there on Ruinberg. So after that, 2-0. So I'm interested to see what our next map is going to be, but it's certainly looking like Horsemen at the moment are feeling very comfortable up against Coalition Zoo. They're really exerting a lot of pressure on them, and I think, if we get onto a map here that's going to be favourable for the Horsemen, maybe, I don't know, Muravanka or something like that, then they could run away with this one.
They could. Yeah. You never know, I guess. So I still have to wait and see. But overall, next up, of course, whichever map we do see, look, I think it would be very bad for the Horsemen if we saw something like Prokhorovka, because to date in the season, we've got the Horsemen on something like a 0, like 10, 20?
20%.
20%, sorry. Yeah, 20% win rate there on Prokhorovka.
Yeah.
So really bad win rate. And they just never have looked comfortable on that.
Well,
so if Team Coalition Zoo can get them onto something like that, then I think they've got a chance to pick up some maps.
I'll tell you what, they're not going to get them on Prokhorovka. I've been told it's going to be Himmelsdorf next.
Oh,
and
okay.
Well, historically speaking, 3 weeks ago or more, it was a good map for Coalition Zoo, but
not anymore.
Not really anymore. It's still okay. They have like a 57% win rate on it, but to
lots
be fair,
of those legacy win rate,
points. Yeah, I think so. If you kind of had like a system where you would say the points from the first week would decay, then definitely it would be very much a downward trend here for the Coalition Zoo. But for the Horsemen, it's really been a pretty decent map overall. I mean, they have a 66% win rate after quite a lot of games. They're very good on the attacking side of Himmelsdorf here. So I'm a little bit worried here for the Coalition Zoo. They're going to need to turn around their current form on Himmelsdorf a little bit. We did see them do okay last week on it, but it's still not enough to sell me on Himmelsdorf here. I think I'm going to go for probably a 1-1. I think Coalition Zoo is good enough, but we'll have to find out here. So we're going to head into Himmelsdorf and the tank picks for that one.
There we go. So there we go. That's what we like to see. From the Coalition Zoo is not 1, not 2, but 3 E100s. Couple of AMX 50Bs, couple of T10s in the mix there as well on the attacking side. And the Horsemen, they're going to be going with the IS-7, T110E3, never a fan of, FV215Bs, AMX 50B Batchat, and the AMX 1390. So overall, the Horsemen, quite a heavy, quite a brawl-focused lineup, but I mean, they're not going to be able to outbrawl the Coalition.
Yeah, Coalition Zoo have a much more heavy lineup. You have to say that.
Yep.
And Coalition Zoo on the attack here. Be interested to see where they go with those E100s here on Himmelsdorf.
I would not be surprised just to see a stock standard banana line push right here.
That's what I was going to say too.
And the Coalition Zoo just tried and tested. I mean, the Horsemen aren't the best team on the world and the Himmelsdorf here, so they can do that.
Well,
they can make that work.
certainly not on the defense. They're a little bit weaker on the defense. About 58% win rate after 12 played, so it's not bad, that's for sure.
No, yeah, true.
But it's not excellent like their attacking side, which is 80% after 10.
Right. No, they do like their attack. But at the moment, it's looking like we're not going to be seeing a banana line push, and actually a good thing as well that we are not, because Gorilla and Archon are perfectly poised to defend it, with Spencer doing the proxy spotting there. So if TCZ had pushed up the banana, then they would have been in a lot of trouble.
Incidentally, Coalition Zoo also do favour the attacking side a little bit here on Himmelsdorf.
There you go. So
you go indeed.
Yeah, about a 64% win rate from memory for TCZ, but at the moment, I'm going to be seeing TCZ right up the top on the hill there, and looking to maybe trade it out a little bit. We've got J-Will in that T10. Not going to be connecting many shots there.
No, what Horsemen are really looking for here is a brawl. They don't want to get into sort of a prolonged poke fight. It's not really going to work out for them. Going up against FV215Bs, which are generally speaking relatively accurate for a heavy tank.
Yep.
And T110E3 also. You don't want to be trading shots with that really. We get those E100s into one of those caps. Get those AMX 50Bs firing as well.
Yeah, definitely. So for now, we are going to be seeing Coalition just sitting fairly well back, and we can actually take a look at their hit point pool. It's 15,891. So a huge amount of hit points there, and only 9 damage down by Crazy B, who obviously ran into his teammate a little bit earlier on. But for now, TCZ are just going to be heading right back down from the hill, and it's looking like now Again, we're getting the pings out. I'm guessing it's going to be a banana line push from them. But if they do end up going that route, it's going to hurt a bit.
Coalition Zoo playing a little bit more, a bit slower than I would have expected to see them playing, to be honest. I think, again, they're probably adapting to the style that they might expect to come out here from the Horsemen.
Yeah.
But they're now just starting to make their move. A one flag push with the E100s. How do you feel about that?
I feel it can definitely work. The only annoying thing is it would be nice to have like an AMX 1390 on.
Didn't we see the Coalition Zoo going for this? Oh,
Yeah.
look at all those spots, though. Didn't we? We've seen the Coalition Zoo do this before. They had a big line of E100s on the one flag. I'm pretty sure it was the Coalition Zoo. And it was
I think we
they had
have
that big line behind
behind
the little
yeah,
house
little
thing in the middle.
box on the flag.
I don't even know what it is. Just a little building out of nowhere.
Yeah, something like that. But at the moment, we are going to be seeing guys from TCZ come out and get a few shots across. Of course, those E100s with their big cannons dealing about 750 average damage per shot. They're going to be hurting if the Horsemen try and trade with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Nundesu's in a pretty decent position where he is now. Once they do start to make their way onto that one flag, a shot's going to go a little wide from the Coalition Zoo there, not managing to connect. But Hawks is, yeah, he's really under a lot of pressure here. If he doesn't get back, which he can't now, essentially, without taking damage, he should be taken down here by Lechippy because there's no one really that can back him up. Joker's going to take a fair bit of damage in the meanwhile, though. He might actually go down here, as really all of those tanks from the Horsemen up towards the northern end of the map have got 3 shots into him. It's the first tank going down here, but Hawks should be traded out. He's got so many tanks to deal with, but overall, the Horsemen are playing this one pretty well. It's a 2-for-1 trade. Hawks got a lot of damage across with that bat chat, and now the Coalition Zoo really under the pump.
Yeah, look, they've sacrificed way too much damage getting onto the flag right here. What they need to be doing with these E100s is just going for trades, not these all-out extended brawls in the open. They'll just lose those ones. And at the moment, Horsemen with 6 tanks still up. Coalition Zoo having lost an AMX 5100, sorry, AMX 50B and a E100.
The strategy here that the Coalition Zoo are going for is not going to work out as well. You can see Spencer coming in from that courtyard. The last-ditch effort to get onto that flag with those E100s, it's not going to work. Spencer's got free and easy resets onto those guys. And now the Horsemen should be able to clean this one up with relative ease.
Yep. Yeah, no, and it's this situation as well, one of the few kind of times when I don't mind the T110E3 because it's doing exactly what it's designed to do, literally just sit on the 2 line and shoot. You know, it doesn't have to worry about anything flanking, it doesn't have to worry about any of that.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the T110E3 up towards the top of the damage charts.
Yep.
Yeah, he's been just pumping out damage.
Yep.
The Horsemen, I mean, across the board have just been pumping out damage. They've really been able to clean up the Coalition Zoo quite easily there on Himmelsdorf. And to be honest, it's really not looking good now for Coalition Zoo. They don't pick up their attacking side here. Horsemen are so good on the attack of Himmelsdorf that I would be very, very much surprised if Coalition Zoo was able to defend this one out.
Very, very surprised indeed. Well, we'll have to wait and see to find out whether they can defend it out on the next half. But overall, like, I was just a little bit confused as to why TCZ didn't try a bit of an earlier push and what kind of drove them to do that you know, rail line push. I don't know.
Let's have a look at the replays. Maybe we'll spot something which we didn't spot during that game. But yeah, they kind of pushed on here without too much information.
Well, with no information, they just all got spotted themselves. So they were all completely spotted. They pushed on. Horsemen were 100% ready for them. And like at this stage here, they got a few kills, but E100s driving out into the open here.
That's where the FV215Bs are going to excel compared to the E100s.
Exactly. They're just going to light them up. So you really want to be going for something like a, you know, honestly, even the hill push would have worked better for them. You know, because they would have been fighting in the streets. They could have traded. They could have poked. Yeah. You know, with those E100s, the big alpha damage that it's got in that gun. But unfortunately, they didn't. So.
Yeah, so again, I mean, the E100's not working out very well for the Coalition Zoo, as they haven't for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, shame. Shame, because I'd love to see them in E100s, but it was just in that situation they didn't use them, you know, to great effect, and it's just a bit sad, really.
Not at all. It's been their signature tank. They're really the only team that consistently is picking E100s, and well, I mean, I guess you can argue there's a reason that that no one else is picking them, because at the moment they're really not working out.
Yeah, well, not working out, particularly when you use them for strategies like that. So let's go ahead and take a look on the post-battle stats to see if any of those E100s were at the top. The answer is Pac-Mania sort of was, but not really.
Gorilla. 4.5 in an FV215B. Gotta be pleased with that.
Going huge in the FV215B there.
T110E3 did a decent amount of damage. That's what we like to see from it.
Can't complain there from Nandesu. And Pac-Mania set in that E100, dealing about 2.1k. So again, and the other E100s effectively getting one shot each.
Yeah. Chippy might have got a bit of ram damage or something like that.
Yeah. Not great. Not great at all if you think about it. And Pixel there in that T10 dealing 0 damage less than the AMX 13.
Raymond in the AMX 50B with 35 damage dealt, that's really not good at all. And I don't know, maybe he got focused down by Horsemen, in which case that's fantastic play from the Horsemen, getting out that damage threat from the Coalition Zoo early on in the piece and really nullifying that. But overall, it's just looking so good at the moment for the Horsemen. 3-0. I expect it will be to a 4-0 after this one. So, well, Horsemen, for me, are going to be thundering away with this.
Very, very scary here for the Coalition Zoo, of course. You know, this is the turning point. If they want to win and get the 3 points on the board, they have to take this one out and the next 4. But like you said, I just don't think that's looking like it's within the realms of possibility at the moment for the Coalition Zoo to be able to pull off here. You know, when they've tried the E100s, they're tried and true strategy hasn't worked out. It's been falling off over the last couple of weeks. And I mean, on the defensive side on Himmelsdorf here, the only thing I can think of is, I mean, it will be easier for them to play with the E100s in a way. So that might work out a little bit better for them. Might be a little bit closer.
Maybe.
But Horsemen are good on the attack on Himmelsdorf. So tricky.
Tank picks. I don't think we're going to see a 4005 coming out from Horsemen on the attack.
Well, none of these teams really feel to me like they'd pick an FV4005 or an FV215B183.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, again, would love to see them pick it. Love to see them pick something like that, but I just don't think it's really within the realms of likelihood.
Well, let's find out whether or not we're correct. Going to go into the tank lineups here, and looks like we were right. No 4005s coming out here. Horsemen. We go another heavy tank-oriented lineup. Coalition Zoo, this time no E100s.
No E100s, there we go. So just going to be going with the 113s instead. AMX 50Bs and one AMX 1390. So overall, still a very strong brawl-focused lineup. But just, that's the thing with the 113s. They really are so much more versatile than the E100s. So yeah. And on the Horseman side, got a bit of a mix, you know. I'll probably send the Batchet up to the hill. AMX, always good for getting caps because it's so nice and light, you know, nice and small profile.
Well, let's have a look and see what the Horsemen do decide to do here. And you're right, a hill push wouldn't necessarily be off the cards for them because they have a pretty quick lineup. I mean, with the exception maybe of the IS-7. Although, in fairness, it can get pretty quick when it's going down the hill. I think it has one of the top speeds, actually, of heavy tanks.
Yeah, max speeds.
Yep. Yeah, max speed, but it has trouble reaching that most of the time, unless it's going down the hill. But, I mean, that's not the option here for the Horsemen. They've decided to beeline it down the banana. And, well, it's worked out pretty well. Coalition Zoo have gone for a push right down the railway. And this is going to allow Horsemen to really get into that 2 flag.
Oh, no.
I wonder, have they even been spotted?
No. Well, Pixel's been
spotted, but surely if Pixel's spotted, that means he's spotted.
If Pixel's spotted, then he's spotted some of the Horsemen, 100%. But look, right now, Horsemen...
Get a third man on the cap.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Third man on the cap, I reckon.
Surely Spencer would get on the cap.
Yeah.
Oh, Spencer is getting on the cap.
Yeah, he's going around the other side. But this is going to make life really tough for the Coalition Zoo. Once Spencer gets on that cap, there's going to be like, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds left for them to get. 25 seconds, okay, right in the middle.
Yeah, so...
But look, this is going to be a tough reset here for Coalition Zoo. If Nandesu can get in there or Colin can stop those heavy tanks from coming around, it's really going to be on, well, are they even going to get there in time?
Maybe not. Like,
they
are just coming in towards the 7 line right here.
Yeah, they should get the reset here, so they will do that. But look at all the damage that they're taking here. That's fantastic work from the Horsemen. Raymond 350 has been dropped so low, and Colin in the IS-7 being a bit of a bother for those Coalition Zoo players. And overall, the resets do come out at the right time there for Coalition Zoo, but they have to sacrifice so much HP in doing so that you have to think now Horsemen really should be able to run away with this one. The AMX 50Bs, they're going to be dropping all of their shells right into their opponents, but no kills yet. There you go, finally Hawks is going to be able to pick up one on Telechippy in that 113. Colin maybe under a bit of pressure here by Pac-Manius, but I mean, he doesn't even take damage from that shot, gets the damage across with his own. And in general, the Horsemen just looking fantastic here, though. They have to get rid of these AMX 50Bs. I'm surprised they're still alive. I mean, it could still go bottoms up if those AMX 50Bs can come up with something, but
yeah,
it's a very slim chance.
Yeah, exactly. And even without Hawks and Gorilla directly contributing to this fight, I mean, I suppose they did just help take some damage on towards J-Will there, but really, it's just dire here for the Coalition Zoo. The Horsemen, they have double the Coalition Zoo's, more than double the Coalition Zoo's health right now, triple. And with only 3 tanks remaining, there's no way that they could take out 5.
Not a chance. One by one, the Coalition Zoo fall. And the Horsemen go thundering along here on Himmelsdorf attack. Going to be adding another one to their very good record on the attacking side of Himmelsdorf. The Coalition Zoo, unfortunately, Himmelsdorf again, you know, what was their signature map in the first few weeks of APAC has been undone.
There we go. So Pixel in the AMX 1390 will be the last member of TCZ to fall. And a little bit unfortunate, I guess, for TCZ going 4-0 down, and that's not something that I expected either, Jordan, to be honest.
No, definitely not. I would have thought this was going to be a little bit closer, but maybe Coalition Zoo can come back and bring this to a tiebreaker. It is a very tough ask. I don't think anyone's ever been able to come back from a 4-0 and bring it to a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And of course to win it all.
Well,
like
exactly.
I don't think anyone's ever done that, at least not in APAC, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, a big job for Coalition Zoo coming out here, but you know, Horsemen, I don't think they're going to let them do it.
I don't think so either. So overall, I mean, if Horsemen can, then, you know, can just wrap this one up in this next one. Maybe Coalition might be able to pull something, you know, something from nothing right now. But
well,
overall,
it's hard really, because like on paper, Himmelsdorf is still Coalition Zoo's best map in general. So, you know, going to be a tough ask for them. But before we get too far into that conversation, we'll have a look at the replays here. And did get close for the Horsemen on that cap, but Coalition 2 got there just in time, although, you know, for all the
honestly, I would have almost liked to have seen, well, yeah, I don't know. Like, Raymond just poked out too far, and they needed to, I suppose, because they needed to get the cap preset, but, like, just, even if they just left, like Pixel down on the banana or something like that to give it a little bit of early warning, because by the time Pixel spotted them out, it was just too late. He spotted them out all the way when they were already sort of past the banana line, you know, and those extra few seconds could have
Coalition
really
obviously
helped.
thought they had a read on what Horsemen were going to do there, but Horsemen really put a spanner in the works by doing the exact opposite of what Coalition Zoo expected them to do. And yeah, going into the next map, it's a really tough situation for Coalition Zoo. I think maybe the only map that they're going to have really any sort of an advantage on is Prokhorovka, which has historically not been a very good map for the Horsemen, but admittedly it's not been a very good map for Coalition Zoo either, so it's hard to see them, you know, saying, yeah, let's go on to this map. So tough situation all round for them, and 4-0 down definitely doesn't make things much easier.
No, it definitely doesn't, but well, we'll have to see whether TCZ can pull something out of their hat here and you know, take out a win just to try and get themselves back in towards this one, even if, you know, for nothing else but for some pride against the Horsemen here, because they definitely would be liking to get that. But at the moment, let's go ahead and take a look at their post-game stats on the TCZ and Horsemen side for Himmelsdorf there, where we can see that, well, Horsemen all the way up the top with 5 out of 7 players. Yeah, boy. So I think Raymond and Joke there for the Coalition Zoo on, well, 4 and 6. Not looking too good overall.
Yeah, no, definitely not. When you get 5 out of the 7, you can almost always guarantee that you're going to pick up the win, really, in a normal battle, unless there's some sort of crazy cap coming out, something like that. But definitely, across the board, it hasn't been a good scoreboard there for Coalition Zoo. I mean, well, they get a bit of damage across all of them, really, but like just not enough. And Horsemen, of course, were able to close that one out relatively convincingly, like they have pretty much every single round so far. And I got to say, I don't think they're going to be dropping the next one, regardless of the map. Unless it's Prokhorovka, then maybe. But apart from that, no.
Yeah, well, there we go. We'll have to wait and see. But I think if it is Prokhorovka, maybe that's the only glimmer of hope that TCZ can hope for here. And I feel as though maybe if TCZ... I want to see them try something just completely the opposite direction. Right now, look, they're 4-0 down. They've got absolutely pretty much, you know, nothing to lose in a way because they're almost certainly going to be losing this one out. So they've got to try something to crazy to get back in and throw Horsemen off, you know, to put them on tilt. So, I don't know, 6 M48 patterns, like, you know, something like that. An equivalent of that, I don't know, 6 tank destroyers.
6 Tier 10 artilleries.
60. No.
Woo boys, let's go. Well, we'll find out what they're going to be pulling out here. I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy.
No, it's
but
probably not.
It's going to be mines.
Well, 2 mouse.
That's from Horsemen, though.
I like the mouse, though.
Me too.
And the TVP T50/51s there on the Horseman side. So they're going to be pretty happy with those ones, I think. And on the Coalition side, they do not have the mouse. They have a dead set identical lineup, but instead of those big Tier 10 German heavy tanks, they've got the 113s, the Chinese Tier 10 heavy that plays a lot like a medium tank.
So call it 5-0?
5-0.
You reckon?
Yep.
Yeah, so do I.
Bit sad to call it 5-0, but at the moment, Horsemen are looking really, really strong. And again, it throws a bit of a spanner in the works because Horsemen, like, if they're looking strong now, then they're another super strong contender for the finals if they've upped their game and, you know, looking serious. But right now, Team Coalitions are going to be heading up towards the center of the map. Good choice.
Well, I think they're pretty much aware that they're not really going to be contested for that hill, although Pixel looks like he's been set on fire here and gets dropped down to 467 HP. That is not a good start for Coalition Zoo, but at least they gain control of the hill. Although, for all the good it's done them, they've actually taken so much damage in getting up there. And the mouse is still, well, one of them's pretty much still in the spawn.
Yeah. So it's going to be Colin back there, and then Nandesu is watching in his bat chat. But look, I do like that little bit of play there from the Coalition, so recognising at least that their lineup is a lot faster than the Horsemen's with those 2 mouses, and recognising that they could get to the hill first and could capture it. So good little bit of play, but not too sure whether they'll be able to translate that into an effective lead, because at the moment they're not looking like it.
I don't know how many times they would have faced a mouse in the Gold League, but I don't think they're really going to know how to deal with this, to be honest. Horsemen might just have the advantage in terms of the tank picks coming into this one. You can already see Fuluso's bounced quite a few shells. He's taken 1, but the dent into his HP pool is relatively insignificant, has to be said.
Yep. Yeah, so Fuluso there just getting set up nice and cozy. Going to be able to put 1 in towards Crazy Beat. And we do see Colin coming up the back as well to try and help out with that a little bit. And Pac-Manius, a new addition to the Coalition Zoo, is maybe going to be trying to get a few shots on towards Colin there, but again, that TVP, not the highest penetration of a Tier 10 gun, so it will struggle a little bit to get through the mouse.
Yeah, definitely. Now both the Mouse, Moiser, making their way forwards here for the Horsemen, and that's going to spell trouble here for the Coalition Zoo, because that lumbering march is going to be difficult to deal with. Nandesu in the bat chat is going to find Raymond, and well, he was up on the boost almost, and now we see a trade back coming out from the Coalition Zoo, but in reality, Horsemen coming into this one dealing so much damage across to the Coalition Zoo, who just don't seem to have an answer to it. And for now, it's a 2-for-2 trade. There goes a 3-for-2 now as Horsemen find another one. And those 2 mouse tanks, they're putting about a pretty decent amount of damage, but still, I mean, the Coalition Zoo are not going down without a fight. They are definitely staying in this one. 4 versus 3 now, and things might have swung back in the favour of the Coalition Zoo.
Yeah, it's looking like it right now, and well, the Horsemen do manage to take down one of that TVP T50/51s. That's a lot of damage
problem was
off the field.
The problem was Nandesu was not in that fight. He was back up on that boost, and now he's going to come in here with probably a full clip loaded, so he's going to have to do some damage, and I just don't think he's going to be able to do it. He's only got 1 shot worth of HP left in him, and Colin, he's getting very low as well here in this mouse.
Oh, no.
It's not exactly what he would have wanted, and it looks like Nundesu's actually gone and hunted down Joke, but Joke had the reload available, and 48 HP for Joke. Colin's really got nothing left that he can do here.
No, Colin's not going to be able to go through.
Face hugging, face hugging.
Face hugging. There we go. Yep. Well played to Mr. Colin. I think Joke might even be the one to finish him off. Yep. There we go. And the Coalition Zoo stay in it with against the mouse.
I wonder how Horsemen really lost that one, because it seemed like they got the fight that they wanted to. I mean, with the exception of Nundesu out of that fight, you know, I guess that could have been the issue. Just missing a bat chat, obviously, is going to be a big deal.
Definitely.
I mean, those mouses, they seem to be getting in there, dealing the damage, and actually soaking up a lot of damage as well. And I thought it was going to go quite well for the Horsemen at one point, but then all of a sudden, you know, a few of those Coalition Zoo tanks went down, and we found ourselves at this point.
Yeah, look, I think even with the mouse there, they did soak up a lot of damage, but I would have liked to have seen a few more ricochets than what we actually saw coming out of them once they were in the fight. You know, I think some of those 113s and even the TVP was, you know, starting to chew in to the mouse in those fights. But
let's have a look and see. I'm sure that you're correct in that prediction.
Yeah, so 113 dealing a solid amount of damage to them, and I mean, they were putting damage out.
I mean, it was pretty decent focus from the Coalition Zoo. I mean, the Colin and Faluso were not actually taking that much damage when it mattered.
Yeah, it's just Nundesu not being in the fight, really. Like, and he comes around, but it's just too late. Simple as that. And if Faluso had stayed alive there, then that could have really helped and potentially even turn the tide a little bit. But at the end of the day, Colin not able to 2v1 in the mouse. 113 just able to go through it fairly easily, as is expected.
I mean, for Horsemen, is their sort of playstyle really going to lean towards a mouse pick? I don't think we've seen them pick the mouse all that much.
I don't know. Not really, to be honest. I mean, they're trying something out, which is good.
Well, I have to say, I don't think we're going to see it on the attack, but having a look here over towards the battle stats, Will.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damage. I mean, he was going up against...
Will, oh my goodness.
2 mouses, but...
Will went huge in that one. There's a massive amount of damage, 5.4k in the 113. Absolutely huge. And, I mean, the mouses, Faluso did a lot of damage, 2.5k in a mouse. Can't complain about that. Colin, a little bit less, but
still pretty respectable for a mouse.
Still on the scoreboard, you know. Overall there, the TVP is down 8, 9 and 10. And
the 25T APs, 11 to 14. That's probably where where they should be.
Yeah.
On paper, being the tier 9 tanks.
Well, there we go. So we are definitely going to be going to a next one there, as the Coalition Zoo hold on for dear life against the Horsemen there. And look, I think you predicted Horsemen 5-3 TCZ. Do you think your initial prediction is going to become correct?
I still don't think so. I think that's an outlier for Coalition Zoo. I'm still going to predict Horsemen here 5-1. I'm probably going to be predicting Horsemen every single round. If they lose the next round, I'm going to say they're going to win 5-2. If they lose the next one after that, well, then maybe things will start to change. But for now, I'm still sticking to Horsemen. I think they're looking a little bit better here. And, you know, that one got very close as well. So I don't think I can read into too much of it for Coalition Zoo. I also think the Horsemen were playing a lineup that they were not necessarily familiar with.
Yeah,
I don't expect they're going to pick that on the attack. So I think they're coming into the attacking side here on Mines. I'm going to pick Horsemen to close it out 5-1.
Yep. No, I'd agree with that. And honestly, the Horsemen on the attack, if they just do a nice solid hill rush on their attack, you know, they should be able to take it out from that. I think you know, lots of bat chats, maybe a couple of AMX 50 TVPs.
Yeah, let's find out. Head into the tank picks there for the second half of Mines. 113s, TVPs, bat chats. Yeah, pretty much what we would have expected, I guess, coming out from Horsemen.
We do have a grill.
Yeah, with the grill.
On the TCZ side, which is interesting and nice. May mean that they kind of play a little bit more defensively. They still could. They still do have the option to rush.
I think the grill, you know, it can set himself up into a spot where he can fight. Well, not fight in the brawl, but he can shoot into
Yeah.
brawl and be effective from a distance. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Coalition Zoo try and challenge the hill initially.
Yeah, they could do.
We'll have to find out though. Does look like it's going to be the case here. So we're going to get to see the battle that we all wanted. Although Coalition Zoo are going to be going about. Ooh, good shot coming out from the Gorilla 15. He's actually very far forward, and Gorilla gets popped down very low here.
Oh no, Pixel.
Pixel, yeah, he's going to have to fall back out there. So overall, you have to say that maybe just favoured Coalition Zoo, but now Horsemen are starting to put a little bit of damage back into the Coalition
why is
Zoo.
Raymond all the way up here in the grill? That's not a good idea.
No.
That is not a good idea.
Yeah, he's under a lot of pressure, down to 400 HP, and well, the Coalition Zoo are going to try to force matters forward here. Colin is going to be under a lot of pressure, but similar, the first kill, the Grill 15 out of the way here for the Horsemen. That's a lot of damage disappeared for the Coalition Zoo, and now we've just evolved into an all-out brawl here. The Coalition Zoo, well, they're hanging in there for the moment, but they are losing out on it, as we would have expected to see. The Horsemen just a little bit better, it seems, in those brawl situations. Although things have calmed down. There's only 200 HP in it. Couple of tanks in advantage, though, for the Horsemen here now. Yeah,
it's looking like the Horsemen right now are just about dead set even with the Coalition Zoo in terms of HP. Horsemen still 6 tanks up. Coalition Zoo only with 4. That is going to be a trouble for the Coalition with the less guns on the field. They need to make everyone count. They need to primary down Archon if they can. Get him down nice and early as soon as he pokes. But with Spencer coming round the back, I think he's going to be looking to close out all the Coalition Zoo. They're spotted out.
Archon's in not a bad position here either. Lachippy's going to take a couple of shots to the back as well, although he's going to trade one back, so actually not a bad result really for the Coalition Zoo. But in saying that, still a tank advantage here for the Horsemen. Nandesu in his TVP, he's on full HP and will be a very key player here for the Horsemen if they do end up picking up this victory. Feluso, I got to say, in that 113, he's really been a real worry for the Coalition Zoo. The Coalition Zoo missed so many shots onto him, and he was just wasting so much of their time that I think he's been really the MVP, I suppose, for the Horsemen in this one here, which looks like it's going to be going the way of a victory. Joke falling off. That's a good joke, mate. He's tracked himself too. Come on, I want to see someone just drive off and ram him. It's not going to happen. Nandesu doesn't look like he's going to be doing anything too silly.
Oh, yes. Oh, do it.
Do it. Why not?
Yes.
Get in there.
There we go. That's a nice way to end it. Oh, well. There we go, and they go out in style, but the Coalition Zoo finally go out there. And, I mean, you know, they ended it on a fairly standard hill push, you know, that they just lost. I think it was a mistake to push their grill up so far early on.
Yeah, I mean, it started off very well. Like, they got that initial shot into the bat chat.
Yeah.
But the Grill 15 should have backed off from that point on. He was because okay, so what they wanted to do, right, was you saw those 2 bat chats that went up onto the mine.
Yeah.
And that would have been, if they had got control of that part of the hill, the Grill 15 wouldn't have been under pressure. But because they lost the control of that area of the hill, the Grill 15 took so much damage, got taken down very quickly there from the Horsemen. So, you know, Coalition 2, it didn't work out the way they wanted. And we saw that. Let's have a look at the replay here. Let's see how that went about.
Yeah, and look, honestly, even the bat chat's getting up into that little boost there. I've never seen a case when they actually get up with enough kind of comfortable time to actually do anything. Often, you know, if both teams rush the hill, those bat chats are just going to get there too late.
Yeah.
Like we saw in the initial play, which is, you know, just a little bit disappointing. But you're right. If they could have gotten up there then a little bit earlier, then that would have changed a little bit and potentially made it so that the Horsemen, you know, wouldn't have been quite so dominant on that hill push. But with Nandesu there falling onto Joke to end it. I mean, 5-1, at least they got one in that series. So
I don't think they're going to be happy with one.
They're not going to be happy.
Nope.
But
let's look at the post-game stats there and have a look and see who did the damage. Even though Feluso's not up on that top 8 there, I still think he's been doing a lot of work for the Horsemen in that battle.
Yeah, there we go. And Nandesu up the top in that TVP with 3,000 damage and 92 in that one. So those TVPs really doing work there. And what's down the bottom, we did have those 113s and the grill. Unfortunately, Raymond really only able to get one shot to connect in that engagement, which is unfortunate to say the least.
Yeah, definitely not what you're picking the grill to do.
No.
For the Coalition Zoo there. So, well, they're going to have trouble now really going into the finals qualifiers. I don't think they're going to really be able to make it now on paper.
Very disappointing.
Especially considering Horsemen now have pretty much solidified their position at number 6, almost. They should be going through.
Well, there you go. That's honestly really quite unfortunate. Just, knowing that the coalitions aren't going to be in our finals.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, I mean, I was honestly hoping a little bit to see them there.
I think it would have been wishful thinking for them to get through to the finals, to be honest. In the form that they're in, I mean, the first few weeks, then sure, but now they've definitely fallen off a little bit. So for me, looks like Horsemen might be having a contest potentially with B Gaming. The way things on the ladder are shaping up at the moment does seem like it's going to be going that way, but I guess we'll have to see. I mean, there's still tomorrow and there's still next Saturday before those qualification matches, so still plenty of time for some teams to really play around with the standings, I think.
Definitely. Well, there we go. We'll have to wait and see whether they can play around with them quite enough. But overall, the coalition, I mean, down the bottom with the Dark Wolves at the moment. And the question tomorrow is, I suppose, whether the Dark Wolves, again, whether they can come back into it and, win 3-0 and all of that fun stuff. But overall, or rather, win and get 3 points. But overall, it is looking like we do have a bit more of a clear picture.
A little bit. We have a look at today's games, how they turned out. Those, of course, going to give us a bit of an indication as to where the standings are going to end up after today. Team efficiency, well, they went down significantly to EL Gaming, which I don't think is a big surprise, really. EL Gaming, of course, looking fantastic at the moment. Meltdown B Gaming, 5-4. We called it was a 5-4. I said B Gaming was going to win it, but thought it was going to be close. And in the end, Meltdown did have enough in the tank. Karen Tiger, 5-4 over Dark Wolves. Not really much of a surprise to see them being taken to a tiebreaker once again, but similarly, not a surprise for them to pick up the victory in the tiebreaker either. And of course, we just saw Horsemen
and Coalition Zoo. There we go. Expected, Horsemen to take that one out, but probably not quite as convincingly as they did to the Coalition Zoo. And really what that match signifies to me is that the Horsemen, they are back on track. And if they can keep that form heading into tomorrow and heading in towards the playoffs, if they make it to the playoffs for the finals qualification, then, well, we're in for a very good playoff series, Jordan.
Let's hope so. Let us hope so indeed. The playoff series are going to be next Sunday, but we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Let's have a look at the standings after today's matches. And for now, Horsemen 26. They could still be caught by Dark Wolves.
Yeah, they could be, but look, overall, they're looking really, really strong, and I think it's going to be hard for Dark Wolves to win flat too.
And Meltdown, they can still be caught by B Gaming.
Yep. They could be.
They cannot catch EL Gaming now, so means that EL's safe in number 1.
There we go. EL, very, very safe, and I think overall, B Gaming and Karen Tiger, it's good to see them both on 3 and 4 respectively.
Karen Tiger and Efficiency still both 30 points apiece. Battling out for that 4th position.
Of course, for those that don't know, if they're both on the same amount of points, and the way that we calculate it is by number of actual rounds won throughout the season. So in that case, the more rounds you win, makes sense, does contribute a little bit.
Fair enough. I have to see how that one turns out. I think it'd be pretty close, but nonetheless, we do have a bit more water tanks coming up throughout the next few days. So let's have a look at tomorrow's matches. EL Gaming versus Meltdown. That'll be a good one. Number 1 versus 2. Yeah, Efficiency, Dark Wolves. Probably going to go to Efficiency, I feel.
Yeah, I would say so as well. Even though today,
Yeah, but it's EL.
It is EL, I suppose. So.
And Karen Tiger, who like to go to tiebreakers, incidentally.
And Karen Tiger, yeah.
B Gaming Horsemen after that. And I think that one's leaning towards B Gaming for me. And after that, Karen Tiger, Coalition Zoo.
Again, it should be Karen Tiger. Whether they do a Karen Tiger and draw it out to a 5-4, I don't know. But after today's performance, I don't really see them needing that many games.
I would have said the same though about the Dark Wolves. So,
there you go. Well, we'll have to wait and see tomorrow. Of course, same time for everyone, apart from our
from everyone that lives in Australia.
Everyone that lives in the east of Australia.
Yeah.
Because of daylight savings, of course. But anyways.
Yeah, anyway, that's going to be it for us today here in the APAC region, though, do join us tomorrow. We're going to be starting at the same time as Alex said. It is going to be Australian Eastern Daylight Time, 5 p.m., but that is, of course, the same time in general. So we hope to join, or we hope to see you guys there, and we'll join you on Sunday.
Join you on Sunday. See you then.